What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Mastermind Creations Reformated R-12 Cynicus, the Investigator. Now, this is the Mastermind Creations version of the Decepticon Justice Division's Voss. Very interesting figure, turns into a sniper rifle. He does have a windowed box. Very nice artwork inside. Let's open him up and take a look. The figure itself comes with 3 different accessories. One is this very large sniper cannon or sniper rifle that can be wielded by the figure easily and can be set up in a kind of a sniper position formation. Very, very cool, very interesting. And then he comes with an extra head and faceplate, which I'm gonna have to get into here. And silly me, I forgot to show you guys that the gun actually detaches from its stock. The stock becomes its own hand cannon, and then you can pose or actually store the long-range rifle part on his back very easily. You can just store it back there with no problem whatsoever. The character known as Voss in the IDW comic series has the ability to remove his face. And what you end up with is this kind of blank face underneath. And the face he removes has a ton of spikes and drills and hooks. Pretty much his faceplate is a custom-made torture device. Now, in the comics, he does just flip a switch and all this stuff pops out. He doesn't normally wear it like this, but it's believed that the faceplate is supposed to mimic the ancient art or ancient punishment of Emperata, E-M-P-U-R-A-T-A, or ritual disfigurement, which was commonly used by the Autobot Senate before the Decepticon uprising. Specifically, it was a functionist torture method, or I don't want to say torture method. It was a torture method, but it was also a punishment. Both Whirl and Shockwave were known to have gone through this. In the comics, let's just say it's really nasty. I'm not going to bother even putting these guys on in the review because, quite frankly, they disturb me too much. Cynicus's robot mode is really neat. I like it a lot. There are a few problems, which I'll get into in a bit, but the overall look and aesthetic of the robot mode is quite good. He has plenty of posability, possessing multiple joints for maximum posability and transformation. Swivels, hinges, ball joints, you name it. The problem is he has too many joints, and they are all way too loose. Just moving him normally will cause him to fall over due to the weight of his backpack. Oh, and I forgot there's this little gray piece which forms the stock in gun mode. It's not a bad figure. It looks great, but posing it is a nightmare because you go to move one thing and 3 other things will move. Part of the transformation is his chest plate flips around. Well, it doesn't lock into place into robot mode. Another part of his transformation is his crotch armor comes off. Again, moves in robot mode. Everything moves, and everything doesn't peg in except for his backpack. And it's just a nightmare to fiddle with. Once you do get him in a pose, don't freaking touch him. Or just very lightly touch bits that have fallen out of place, because otherwise, you're just going to have a bad time. I've done my best to mimic the pose he is shown in the directions using, but as you can see, it's not perfect, but I do what I can. As I said, very posable. Just once you've got him posed in a spot or in a way that you like, don't touch him unless you want to move him. The figure's transformation is not fun. Just plain and simple, it's not a fun transformation. It is very complicated and very fidgety, but we'll get into it now. To start off with, we're going to take the arms and point them straight out to the sides, come into the abdomen, and actually open up his abdomen. And this is honestly the hardest part because getting your fingers in here and getting this abdomen split open is much more difficult than it really should be, but I understand why it is as difficult as it is because, well, let's face it, if it was too easy, you would just pop the stomach apart in robot mode much, much too quickly. So then, once we have the abdomen opened up, we take the or this double hinge we see here, and push it out as far as it'll go and collapse the chest down. And then move the abdomen bits to the back of the figure. Take the chest piece and flip it 180 degrees and get everything pushed up into the chest like so. Then we can take the head of the figure and the backpack, unpeg the backpack from the back, and I have a tendency to pop that bolt piece off the ball joint all the time, and just kind of pull it away and get it out of the way, which unfortunately is a lot easier said than done because of the way this thing fits together. And you're going to pop a ball joint, don't worry about it. When you do, you flip the head back, turn it around, push it up back, and then close the abdomen parts over the head like so. And then we could come back here and put the ball joint back in like that. Next, we're going to take the shoulders and fold them all the way up, turn them such that the little piece up here is facing up with the shoulder, then bring the arms around, bend them at the elbows, and make the fists grab onto these pegs along the back. And don't worry if they don't peg in right away. That's just going to happen. So just turn it so that all the joints are hidden as best you can. Fold it up, or fold the elbow up, and get that hand onto that peg. And then we'll also fold this little bit out, which will give us a second handle in the gun mode. Then we will take the gun stock, or the gun cannon, and actually peg that into this cavity we have opened up with the rear of the gun facing in, because this little tip right here where the hammer would be is going to peg into that peg hole right inside the chest cavity. And things get a little tight, push it in, and then peg the upper arms into that. And if things start falling apart or coming out of place on you, don't worry, it happens. You could just push it all back into place. Now with the torso taken care of, we'll come to the legs. Take the legs with the figure pointing forward. Take the crotch plate and flip it around so it's pointing down. Take the thighs so that the inner thighs are pointing forward. And then take the legs so that the legs are pointing to the front of the figure like that. And then turn the figure so that the head and the back are facing to your left. And then this section will fold down between the legs. And at this point, we want to actually reapply what will be the scope, and then collapse the scope into place and turn it so that the ball joint is pointing towards the back of the scope. Flip this whole section down, and this will come between the legs, and just get everything situated in here. And then we'll close the legs up, and the inside of the legs will actually connect to this guy right here via these pegs right there, which, again, very fidgety, very, very fidgety. And this is what you end up once everything's pegged in. The little pegs that peg into the backpack peg into the back of the thigh. Then this holder piece pegs in. And then the very bottom tip of the scope pegs into the crotch skirt. So that's how everything stays into place back here. Then we flip the rear of the lower legs up into the stock here, and then attach this piece for stability in sniper mode. And then we can add the actual sniper cannon to the very front of the figure. And we are done. We have made ourselves the Cynicus cannon mode. Now, if you're wondering if everything sticks together, no! As you can see, I am having trouble keeping this thing posed and locked into place. It does not lock into place. That's both good and bad, because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room for posability, but then again, it's a pain in the butt to get posed in the first place. So we get this nice big sniper mode, which can be wielded by a number of figures, but it's a bit fidgety. Voss has been known to be wielded by Megatron on occasion, according to IDW, but I couldn't find a Megatron figure that I have out that isn't in storage that could hold him well. Generations Leader class Megatron couldn't hold him at all, but so I picked the current ruler of Cybertron, and that's Starscream. Armada Starscream, to be specific. As you can see, the gun mode is really big compared to Starscream. I mean, it's gigantic. It's practically twice his size, and that's cool. You end up with a neat shoulder cannon. But Cynicus is just not a fun figure. The primary reason I picked him up was because I really wanted to get, or I really want to get, all of the Mastermind Creations versions of the Decepticon Justice Division. But I'm not impressed with Cynicus here. It's just not a fun figure to own, to transform, or to pose. So unless you really, really want to have all of the DJD, I wouldn't recommend picking this guy up unless he's on sale and, whoa, hello, and you really must have him. Otherwise, I would avoid him. So gang, I hope you have enjoyed this video review of Cynicus from Mastermind Creations. I picked it up at BigBadToyStore.com, and you can too. As always, I'm Baltmatrix, asking you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.